So, this most recent chapter of My Hero Academia seems to be implying that this war arc is coming to an end, and it's coming to an end real fast and real hard. So, y'all better buckle up, pray that your favorite hero survives, and get ready for the most amazing fight in My Hero Academia history coming next chapter, because this is just all set up. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another manga review for My Hero Academia. Manga chapter 289, titled Akatsuki and Shimatoko. I don't know why I did that. Akatsuki and Shimatoko. We do not have the translations for what that means. Many people have been saying it has something to do with the eyes. Possibly. I cannot say until the actual official comes out, because I'm basing this review off the translations again, because they seem to be very accurate. Accurate. So, when it comes to this chapter of My Hero Academia, as hopefully you saw the intro of this video, this is basically implying that this war arc is about to come to an end, because a lot of things are coming together. A lot of things that were wondering between Toga and Ochako are being settled when it comes to certain characters, what state they are in this fight, and really just everything in this war just coming together. And I want to get into that more as soon as we get there. But before we even get into this review, I'd like to ask y'all to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Blue Drew 97. Leave a like and leave a comment if you like these reviews, and talk about what you liked about this chapter. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So, weirdly enough, we start off the review with Nejire and Ito, and we see that they're going into a flashback. And if you remember correctly, they had a lot of the flying heroes go out to try and send messages to all of the heroes, warning them about this monster named Gigantomachia coming at them. And as Nejire is doing that, as well as how she's heading towards Endeavor and his group, Ida has apparently tagged along, and the reason why he's tagged along is because he realized that 3 of his friends left and they never came back, so he's going to go there to rescue them and see what's wrong with them. Which, when it comes to talking about how he's he's gonna rescue them, yeah, they're in real need of rescuing, because the next page we see Bakugo and Deku both falling to the ground, can't really rescue themselves, but luckily enough Shoto is able to come in and save them while carrying his own father. We have Shoto who's worried about Deku, Endeavor, Bakugo, and he realizes that they are safe and they're alive. But unfortunately, so is Shigaraki. And something interesting about this is that you have Shigaraki, who is talking to himself, but more specifically, he's talking to All for One, because apparently, unfortunately, Shigaraki is still conscious. He survived the fall, but the thing is, he's still being controlled by his master. And I think a great way to indicate that he's still being controlled by his master is that we still see the lower part of his jaw being consumed in the blackness. You could say that it's burning of his flesh, but I think that more is indicative of him still being somewhat controlled by All for One. Also, the fact that we see these black tendrils once again that are keeping him up, which was only activated by All for One using them, because Shigaraki doesn't know about the quirks. So you have Shigaraki, who is still conscious. You have both Deku and Bakugo, who are down for the count, and Endeavor is also down for the count as well. And you have Shoto, who's thinking to himself, I have to take down this big bad. I have to do it on my own. But no, Shoto, you don't have to do it on your own, because you have Nejire coming out with her spiral energy beams, shooting at Shigaraki, shattering the black tendrils that are keeping him up, as Ida comes in to help and rescue his friends, and how he's planning to get them out of the vicinity, and also warning them that there's a big monster heading his way. And you know what? It's really cool that Ida is here, because we have Ida But then we also have the person that he was menteeing under, his mentor, Manuel. But then you also have Nejire here, who, and this is like a real fun but a real serious scene with Nejire, because she sees her mentor, Ryuko, and how she's damaged, as you just see her looking over, just, her face is puffed up. But see, here's the thing, she's not the type of person that's gonna get mad easily. She's always like, hey, oh, what's that? Oh, well, how does your quirk work? Oh, how does that work? She's always excited, but in this moment, she's showing like emotion of anger and disgust, because, you know, he literally beat the person that like she adores the most, her mentor. But then you have Deku, who's telling everyone that Shigaraki is after him and that he should get Kacchan and Endeavor out the way, and that his regeneration is weakened, so like Hado senpai or Nejire can possibly take him out, as you have Shigaraki, or as I said, All For One, basically calling all of these people maggots and pests. And then we cut back over to the fight between Ochako and Toga. So, you know, when it comes to this chapter, we are bouncing back mainly between Toga and Ochako's fight and the final confrontation with Shigaraki. And that's really cool, because it's showing that we're just not going to focus on one singular thing. We're going to be focusing on two crucial parts of this war: the interactions and the relationships between the heroes and the villains, specifically the UA kids and the villains, as well as like the bigger interactions between Shigaraki and all of Hero Society. So it's like a good like contrast between each other, between this big massive fight with a whole lot of stakes, but then this smaller fight with like smaller stakes that are important to the people that are in this fight. Because you have Ochako, who is fighting against Toga, and she does something really interesting, is that even though she was being pinned down, she was able to throw Toga off, which is, she makes a comment about how she has grown stronger since the last time she's met, which makes sense, because when she first fought Toga, she was unable to like really keep her down, and Toga was able to take her blood. But now that she's gotten stronger, she's gotten better with her quirk, she knows more about gunhead martial arts and is able to like use her quirk more effectively. When Ochako used her quirk right here on Toga to make part of her arm float, that just shows like how more efficient she has gotten with her quirk. And then you also have Ochako, who's, even though she like had touched her partially, she wants to touch her completely to incapacitate her, but also making sure that she doesn't draw any blood, because if she draws blood, then Toga would be able to transform into her. And you know, it's always difficult to fight yourself. Trust me, I've tried. It never ends well. And so while you have Ochako and Toga fighting it out in this abandoned building, you have Toga, who's basically telling Ochako her life story about how society wanted her to act one way, but she always wanted to act the other way. How society and people was like, yo, don't drink people's blood. So she's like, I want to drink people's bloods. And she also explains how it's been so hard, and how she wants to be like the people that she drinks the blood of. And she even tells her about a specific person who was trying to like tell her that she pitied Toga because she didn't have a normal life, and how she killed her by transforming into Ochako and using her quirk to do so, which shocks Ochako. And when you think about it, heroes aren't supposed to be just killing people at random or just killing villains. Their job is to protect people, including villains, and make sure like no one gets hurt, including the villains. And the fact that Ochako now knows that her quirk was used in a way to kill people, that is really shocking, because this just shows that how much restraint the heroes have so that they don't kill people. I mean, it's really easy to like make someone levitate and then make them drop to the ground, but it's even harder to prevent yourself from doing that. It's like, this would be an easy fix, but at what cost would that be? At what cost would be using my quirk to hurt this person? Like, what is that actual cost? And I think this kind of leads into like a video that I really want to make about how dangerous quirks of the heroes or the villains can be, if they were used differently or to actually use to kill. And I think this is just establishing more of that like dichotomy between how the heroes use their quirks and how villains would use their quirks. How heroes have to take more restraint while villains don't have to restrain themselves at all. And while this is happening, Toga and Ochako are still fighting, and Ochako is just shocked, and it's just not necessarily disgusted, but it's really angry as she's like being thrown around and hitting specific items in the area. And then you have Ochako, who basically tells off Toga about how Toga used Ochako's quirk. She's like, how could you use my quirk to kill people? That's not something that I would do. Like, what are you even trying to tell me? And while this is all happening, you have Toga who's like, let me just pull something out. And then we look at Ochako's shocked face and we see what Toga pulls out. And she talks about like, oh yeah, you dropped this, didn't you? And we see it's the All Might little keychain that she got from Deku, which, you know, it's just really adorable that she has it. But also, Ochako is mad about this because we do know for a fact that she likes Deku, and this is something that was given to her from Deku. She's like, hey, give that back. That's something important to me. And Toga's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is something important to you because you're mad about it, which, you know, obviously. But then she talks about how, yeah, Jin used to be someone important to me too. And, you know, I realized something, Ochako. You like Izuku-kun as well, don't you? Yeah, I've known it for a long time. Because this belongs to Izuku, doesn't it? We're really alike, aren't we? So you have Toga, who's basically confirms they technically like the same boy. And and this is so cool and so like just weird at the same time, because you think about this, like, what would happen if like these things were flipped? Like, what would happen if like Ochako was evil and Toga was good? Or what if they were both good? What if like society didn't fail Toga? And that kind of is brought up in this chapter within the next few pages, because you have Ochako, who in actuality had a plan to try and take out Toga real quickly. Even though she was being thrown around, crashing into things, she was able to still use her quirk on the items around her and use a new special move as she yells out how that toy belongs to her. And she uses Zero Satellites, where she has attached the wires to floating objects that she touched and hurls them at Toga, and how like she used her quirk while stumbling around. And even though it doesn't really do a whole lot to Toga, she once again talks about how like she was holding back all of these feelings and how she couldn't hold back her desires anymore. And then you have Ochako, who's like, yo, Himiko Toga, like, if you're gonna do this and you're gonna be irresponsible, I'm gonna make sure you take responsibility for all of your actions. And this is the moment where Toga smiles and is like, yeah, you're right. And then she says bye and leaves as Froppy tries to stop her. She's not really successful, unfortunately, and Toga is glad to see Froppy, but unfortunately she gets away, and mainly because Gigantomachia is in the area. So she gets on top of Gigantomachia, most likely. Froppy is like, okay, where did she go? She's trying to like cover our blind spots, ribbit. And you have a track was like, no, she's not doing that. As we get more confirmation that Gigantomachia is still going through the city, he's unstoppable. Gigantomachia is just destroying the city. But then we have this moment of Ochako and this moment with Toga, where Toga is basically thinking about how she always thought that one day she'll be able to talk to Ochako and about the people that they love. And she says that she's going back to the League of Villains because she's gotten her answer. But what is even more interesting is that you have Ochako, who basically says, no, she ran away. And she's like, was she crying? Implying that the answer that she heard, it still doesn't say if that's the answer that she wanted, but it's the answer that she thinks she needed. And I think this brings Toga to a new light. And I think this is like what I was talking about, how to like what would happen if Toga was good, because I think she comes to the realization that no matter what she's gonna do, no matter what type of person she is what she is, but she still would have loved to have been normal. She accepts the fact that she's not normal. She accepts the fact that what she does is a part of her, but she still may regret the fact that she may not be able to have this relationship with Deku, have this relationship with Ochako that she actually wants, because she has accepted who she is, and she can never go back to quote unquote normal. And I think that is just really cool to see, because it will show that, first of all, it shows that Ochako may now like have a better understanding of Toga as a person, and she may not necessarily just see her as this villain. She may see her as just a person who has strayed from the side of good, which will make it even more complicated when they fight once again. So I think that is really cool, coming from just this fight in general, just establishing their characters between each other, establishing that connection, and showing that even though it is hero and villain, in actuality, it's one person fighting another person. The sides don't matter because they have this connection that may go beyond hero and villain now. So, you know, with that emotional stuff out the way, let's go back to the action, because the last 2 pages of this chapter, first page is just pure and utter action, as we see that Gigantomachia has appeared in front of Shigaraki, as to the shock of Nejire, Ida, and Shoto, where we see all of the heroes in despair, as we see Gigantomachia has appeared. Gigantomachia has entered the battle, as well as with Dabi, to the joy of both the Dabi and Shigaraki, as the chapter ends. Like I said, yeah, this isn't the end of the arc, but this is like the final build up. Like, we have been going up this inclining climax just straight up from like the past like 2-3 months. It was on a slow incline, and then just went vertical, and we're about to hit that peak. And I think we're gonna hit that peak in next chapter, because once we hit that peak, we're not just gonna go straight down. We're not gonna do a slight incline. No, we're gonna hit the top, and everything's gonna fall down and crumble. It's gonna be awesome, and I cannot wait to see it. Most likely, I think next chapter we're gonna get is Gigantomachia entering the battle. The heroes trying to figure out how they're gonna fight Gigantomachia. And I think next chapter, if not next chapter, the chapter after that, I think that is when the anesthetic will come into play, where the villains will get to the ground, they'll begin fighting, and Gigantomachia will begin to fight, but then he'll just fall to sleep. And I think this will allow for the villains to escape. Gigantomachia may stay in the city for a while, but because he's under anesthetic, it'll be like the villain will escape, but the heroes won't have a way to move him, so he may just stay there, and they'll be like, okay, we'll just somewhat capture him, blah, 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 blah. But I think also something else that, if not next chapter, what's going to be coming in the next few chapters, is that we're going to get interactions between Dabi, Shoto, and Endeavor. And I think maybe, if not next chapter, the chapter after that is where we're going to get the reveal of really what Dabi is, and potentially like having Endeavor's past outed to the entire world, because frankly, what's happening at My Hero Academia during this war arc is the equivalent of 2020 right now. Literal hell has broken loose, and there's nothing really we can do about it except sit back, relax, and pray that we don't die. Yeah, that's a good way to sum up My Hero Academia's war arc. So yeah, hopefully, if you didn't know, I really enjoyed this chapter because it's just an amazing setup. Just the emotions between Ochako and Ida, and being able to see Nejire So yeah, I'm just really happy about this chapter. Really liked it. I really liked the emotions between Toga and Achako. Got to see their fight. Really cool fight. We got to see Toga cry, which, you know, is just showing that she's an actual person. Also getting to see Nejire showing a little bit more emotion, showing that her mentor was basically crushed and how she wants to fight back, and how she actually did, like, not mass damage, but did some damage to Shigaraki, which shows that even though she's barely a student anymore, she can still act like better than a lot of the pro heroes, and how Ida has come into play, and he may play a crucial role. Heck, Ida may die. I don't know. All I know is that I really did enjoy this chapter. Can't wait for the official translations to come out to clarify maybe a few things. Can't wait for next chapter to come out, because we are not on break. So, you know, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this chapter. What do you think is going to go on next chapter? Leave a comment down below. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will catch you in the next video. Goodbye.